Well, what's going on, you guys? So it seems just like my Sunday productivity that the ammo supply is on the downhill. And things are getting bad when a weekend in Vegas costs as much as a weekend at the range. We're not quite there yet, but it's on the horizon. Did a live last night where I talked about some things, and tonight we're going to cover them a little bit more deeply. I've done some research and pulled up some articles. So let's get into it. So sit back, chill out, grab a drink. Here we go.
To me like this. He said, most of the world out there is sheep. They're kind, gentle creatures. They can only hurt one another by accident. He says, then there are wolves. The wolves will feed on the sheep. They're the sociopaths. They're the criminals. He says, and then there are sheepdogs. The sheep are a little leery of the sheepdog. He wanders around, checks the perimeter every night, barks at the moon. He would never turn his teeth on the flock, but he yearns for a righteous battle. And when the wolf comes around, nothing else will do, and the entire flock is sitting there trying to hide behind one lonely sheepdog as he faces down the wolves. We're talking about a creature who is capable of confronting and dealing with combat and sustaining themselves across the long haul. The goal becomes to be a sheepdog, to be a warrior, to be the one that is ready to respond to the threats when the time arises.
So last night I did this live, and I haven't done a live in a super long time. And what I realized is that I failed to come through on a promise for you guys. Here at this channel, we're not about doomer porn. We're not about fear porn. We're about having conversations about things as they actually are and relate to us in real life. And my goal is to try to bring it to you in a lighthearted way where we can still laugh and shoot the shit about it. So last night, I don't think I smiled even one time. So expect to see lots of smiles from me tonight, and probably cheesy one-liner dad jokes as well. Let's start out with this one. This February, Cupid is going to have to resort to old school methods and probably just send love letters because arrows are not going to be around. Anyways, let's get into this. Enough cheesy dad jokes. So yesterday I talked about a friend who had told me about a supplier called Lake City who owns 30% of the manufacturing for ammo that supposedly went under or lost a contract. Wasn't sure if it was true. I thought if it was true that it would be top of the headline news when I Googled ammo shortages, and it wasn't. So I thought it was BS. Well, turns out that it actually isn't BS, but I did have it slightly wrong. First, let's get into this. So, right now, this article here is speaking about unprepared for a long war, U.S. Army undergun to make more ammo. Now, this isn't technically an article about small arms ammunition. It's actually about 155 millimeter howitzer rounds that the U.S. is rushing to Ukraine. And we have supposedly depleted our stockpiles of that. And this is like some major stockpiles of ammunition because we haven't been this low since, we actually haven't produced this much ammunition for 155s since Europe in World War II. So artillery, and I would say, there's going to be a whole host of other ammunitions that we're probably not going to be 100% privy to, but let's think about it. Tomahawk missiles, I'm sure small arms, RPGs, anti-tank, anti-air, it's everything that they're using over there. So supposedly we're gearing up for that. And last night I talked about why the hell would this be public knowledge? Either one, because it's complete bullshit, or two, to scare the living hell out of you so that you can fall in line and be a scared, sad little soy boy, useful idiot for the government or for whatever their agenda is going to be. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. Who knows? Secondarily, let's move on. NATO warns of ammunition shortage due to the war in Ukraine. Yeah, not a big surprise there. Although now we're moving into, possibly, potentially, I don't know. I guess that's my opinion, is that we're moving into, a second front potentially. I guess I'm kind of interested to see what you guys think about it. Comment down there. Do you guys actually think that this thing is going to kick off? Are we going to be in a two-stage war here? I don't know. Anyways, back to the article. So, Admiral Rob Bauer, who chairs the NATO military community, said that Europe needed to ramp up production as the war enters its 20th month. This is October 4th, 2023. So he's talking about their weapon systems that they're still giving to Ukraine, which is great, and the ammunition is no longer coming from full warehouses. So they're starting to ramp down their supply. We started to give away from half or lower warehouses in Europe, and therefore the bottom of the barrel is now visible. Like I've said before, I don't know why you would openly discuss the barrel or the bottom of it, other than to feign weakness. So that's my guess, is they're trying to feign weakness, and anyone knows that anything that you're hearing from your potential adversary is probably BS. So they're smarter than that. Anyways, let's get into the Lake City ammo shortage rumor that I heard that's potentially, it's true. So, Lake City ammo plant cancels all commercial contracts. So, first of all, I heard this from my buddy, and he says that, Lake City supplies 30% of the ammo to the civilian market for the United States. And I was like, man, dude, if they just got shut down, like, that sounds like something that would be like headline news, right? Well, it turns out that it's actually true, but they actually supply 30% of the civilian market for 5.56 ammo. And looks like it's Winchester in particular. So this article states, this is from stapledefense.com. The Lake City ammo plant is owned by the U.S. government but operated by Olin Winchester. Winchester produces ammo and sells it to the government. When the facility is able to produce more ammo than the government requires, they sell it to consumers or distributors. And if it's true that they've canceled their commercial contracts, this means that the U.S. government is requiring more ammunition, enough that they can't produce enough to sell the excess. So just like I said yesterday, it's simple, supply and demand. And if the United States government owns this Olin Winchester group that sells 5.56 green tip ammunition to the public when they have excess, then it only makes sense that if they're gearing up for something, that we're not going to be able to find that stuff anymore. And I feel like this is going to be a microcosm for what we're going to see in the future. This is a no-brainer, but I'm covering news that I heard that I thought was BS, and it turns out that there's possibly some truth behind it. Imagine that. It almost smells like a conspiracy theory. Anyways, let's keep moving on here. So, my next screenshot reports that Army Lake City ammunition plant cancels commercial ammunition contracts. Just another website to further this around, except for this time, got a picture of 223 Remington 55 grain. So let's read a little excerpt from this. Last year, we reported that the Biden administration, as part of its unrelenting war on guns and those who own them, was moving to cut off civilian sales of ammunition produced at Army's Lake City ammunition plant in Independence, Missouri. Lake City cranks out as much as 30% of the commercial 223, 5.56 ammunition sold in this country. So the date of this article is also, it's October 15th, 2023, which I think is a day after the other one I just cited. While we couldn't get Winchester, who operates the plant under contract with the Army, to comment on the situation, the report was well sourced by those with direct knowledge of what was happening at the time. We obviously were onto something because the White House went so far as issuing a denial of the report. Talk about a double negative. I don't know what a denial even means. Sounds like a double negative oxymoron to me. Anyways, let's keep moving on here. The next one we got is some World War III fun to talk about. Yesterday, everyone's been talking about the draft and World War III and whether or not it's going to happen. I think the consensus is that everyone is pretty much sure that it is. Let's see, where was I at? Oh, my bad. So this article here is, I guess, a no-brainer question to think about, right? So is the media trying to spin up the potential of World War III? My question is do they even really have to? So anyone with half a brain could probably imagine that it's highly likely with the way that things are going. But we have to remember that there's people that are more in the know than us. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they are, military affiliated. They might have some military contracts, right? So the next article that I have is from well-liked Mr. Elon Musk. So Elon Musk warns of World War III potential. Now, this dude is a smart guy, right? Super smart, tech billionaire. So Elon Musk said Monday that the war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza and Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine raises the potential for World War III. Quote, "We need to figure out peace in Ukraine, and I think we need to restore normal relations with Russia," Musk said in a talk on the social media platform X on Monday. The date of this is October 24th, 2023, which is only yesterday. So a highlighted quote from thehill.com, where this article is from, is World War III is a civilizational risk that we may not recover from. So we need to prioritize avoiding World War III. That's what actually matters. And not what happened in World War I and have a regional conflict rapidly become a global conflict. Well, it is fairly interesting that right now, it seems like we've learned nothing from history, which I guess is human nature at this point. But when Elon Musk is on board with the potential that he sees, that everyone else sees, then I would think that would kind of drive it home for you, right? So it means not only is it possible, it's probably highly probable that it's going to go down. A lot of the things would point to that. And so, that's just what it is, guys. Like, whatever, right? You can sit there and freak out about it. You can sit there and, drink yourself to death and worry all crazy. It's not going to change it. The bad news is still going to be there tomorrow morning when you wake up, whether you read it or not. So, in the meantime, stay cool, stay easy, and just let things develop. We are only humans and civilians at that, and have a very limited effect on all those things that are going on out there. You can only control what's going on around you. So I would say, whatever you can do in your power, you should do that. Do that right now. Go stock up the pantry. Go stock up your ammo. Hit the range, Times are still good right now. If you knew for a fact that World War III was going to begin, if you knew that right now, and let's say you had 6 months to prepare for that, what would you do right now? Number one, what I would do is I would be really grateful for these times because, like I just said, these are very good times. Secondarily, I would probably take full advantage of all the niceties of a non-World War III life. Can't say exactly what that's going to look like here. I mean, it's going to look a lot different here in the States than it is anywhere else in the world. We're pretty stable and protected here. At the same time, we do have a large gap in the border down south. So I think our fight's going to be probably like an inside terrorism one if the WW3 kicks off. But if you're prepared, that's why we do this, right? That's why the whole methodology behind prepping is so that you can enjoy some relatively normalness when things have gone awry, right? So we're doing this so that we can smile over a can of beans while, there's fallout or whatever, like whatever your version of SHTF is. So stock up, get prepared, do the things and the stuff while you still have the time. Go hit the range, go see your family, embrace your loved ones, tell them that you love them, and enjoy the fact that things are still good. And maybe things aren't even going to go to shit because this thing could turn around and we might be fine. I feel like that might be my normalcy bias, Mr. Norman talking, wishful thinking. Either way, no one really knows. So I think let's drop into the chat here and see if I'm just talking to myself or if there's anyone here. Oh, dang. Mr. Kill It and Grill It himself says hello from Nebraska. Mr. Kill It and Grill It, you're my only friend here tonight. So cheers to you, man. How are things doing over there? What's the word? What's going on? Things here out in Colorado, where I'm at, kind of covered last night. Just monitoring, ammo supplies. There's really nothing to report on. I mean, I guess this is early stage, potential pre-war stuff that I'm talking about. But nevertheless, to have this conversation now is important. And really just covering back on the things that I talked about yesterday with the Lake City rumor that I heard, with 5.56 and 2.23 ammo, 30% of that excess supply being cut to the United States civilian market. That's a big freaking deal, man. That is a big deal. I think most of my ammo in my safe, well, right now, because I just stocked up, half of it is Winchester and the other half, well, no, more than half of it is Winchester. And the other half is like some super cheap, off the wall version that I bought. $10 a box for 20 rounds. There's also like some steel cased Red Army stuff, which I'm not even sure is actually, it's called Red Army, so you think it's from Russia. And we all know that the supply from Russia has been ceased. So ammo is sold out around here. What about 6.5 Creedmoor? I've seen a lot of that lately. So I know that the United States government has a whole new line of badass weapons that they're bringing in. And it seems like 6.5 Creedmoor seems to be a more commonly used round than what used to be. I've seen a ton of it on the shelves everywhere. So anyhow, yeah, 9mm. I mean, I've actually not really noticed any shortages. I've only noticed like an uptick of people buying firearms and purchasing ammo. Everything else seems to be completely normal as of right now. course, we haven't gone full hot yet, but yep, cream horde is sold out, and I bought it all. That's awesome. Kill it. Well, self-realized prophecy there, I guess. You caused the ammo shortage in Nebraska. Everyone can say thanks to Kill It and Grill It. All right, man. Well, we're only about 22 minutes into this thing, and I think I've pretty much covered everything I wanted to talk about. We went over the ammo things that I couldn't get to yesterday. Talked about some people in the know who, are pretty sure that, they think the WW3 is going to happen. So we're just going to end this here and advise you guys once again, ending with this statement. If you knew for a fact that World War III was going to happen, and you knew that the timeline was 6 months to a year away, what would you do right now? What would you do right now? I think if you can ask yourself those questions, you'll be able to realize maybe where your shortcomings are for a full-fledged SHTF scenario, right? One thing that comes to mind for me is like a recent YouTube thumbnail that I think I saw yesterday, which was like bugging out fantasies, bugging out to nowhere. And it's like most people don't have a spot to bug out. And I do think that community aligned with your bug out location should somehow be tied together. I feel like probably most people don't have a bug out location in mind. And probably most people haven't really spent the time to develop a community of like a end of the world squad per se. God knows that I could be better at both of those things, because whatever plan that you have is going to go to crap. So you need to have a contingency plan and an emergency plan for whatever your main plan is. Ammo company in Grand Island, Nebraska had an explosion. Well, before we leave you guys, let's look up that. Explosion in, let's see, what did you say? Kill it, Grand Island, Nebraska. Okay. We can look this up and we can share it with you guys. I'm going to assume that was what, fairly recent? Yep, says Grand Island, Nebraska. An explosion. Oh, God. Hornady. An explosion at the Hornady Manufacturing Company claimed the life of one employee and left 2 others injured. Friday, October 13th, 2023. It does kind of feel reminiscent of the food structure fires that we had. What was that? I guess that was, what was that? 2021 Kill It. That could be potentially something that we see more often now. I mean, who's to say? Anyways, guys, I think we're gonna end things here. I kind of covered all of the things that I didn't get more into depth on yesterday. And so I appreciate you guys stopping in. If you found any value to this, hit that like button. Please subscribe. It would appear that 80% of you that come to visit me aren't subscribed. If you do, it helps the channel. It helps get this message out to other people. In the meantime, I appreciate you guys for stopping in, and we will catch you guys next time. See you later. Prep Marines out.